again. Me, Carol. Today is going to be a bit of a bish bash bosh kind of video. I'm going to go through quite a few things. I'm going to start decorating some of the pages up, and I also want to add some or at least make some pockets, because then I'm going to start auditioning all the pieces that I've made and decide where they're going to go. All right, so be prepared. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to ink stencil one of my hairs there some of the blank pages. So like on the back of this one, it's white, don't want it white, so I'm going to pull that one out and I'm going to do some stenciling on there. I don't think you need to watch me doing it, do you? Because I've already done some stenciling. So basically I'm using this stencil which I got from Temu. I'm using the weathered wood again so that it keeps the colour combination all together, and I'm just going to do around the outside edges and down the centre so that the page itself has a little bit of a border. So I'm going to go off and do that, and then I'll come back and show you what it looks like finished. That's the stenciling all done, so it kind of fades into the centre, so this bit is sort of left blank. So if you want to do any writing on there, you can. I've cut from one of the really useful papers this piece, and it fits now widthways, and it's slightly shorter. There's the fold, look, so you can see it's a little bit shorter so that it doesn't snag on that centre piece when it's stitched in place. Now I've left the white strip on there because it doesn't matter, because this back piece is going to be in contact with the paper. So I'm going to fold it in half, but I'm going to extend it just a little bit beyond, only by about 1/8 of an inch, so that it makes it easier to flip the pocket open. Okay, so you can, if you can see from the white paper there, there's a little bit of a lip, so it just makes it easier to lift that front piece up. Then what I'm going to do is I've got a piece of tea dyed paper, and I'm going to stick it to the inside. Now it's the full length of a piece of A4 paper, because I want to cover the whole thing and I want to fold it up. So I'm going to glue that to this. Glue, 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 glue. So I'll add the glue on there. And then this will sit on top of there. And I want it the same width as the pocket, so I need to just trim off this little extra bit there. So once that glue has dried, I can start to fold it up. So it's going to fold on that fold there that I'd already made. And then this piece is going to fold up and in. And then that excess can then be folded down. So it means that I can see I need to trim the edges a bit, but when I attach this as a pocket, that will lift up and then that will pull down so that you've got extra writing space. Now the other thing that I want to do on this is I want to fussy cut these two little girls out. I'm not fussy cutting the whole lot, and I want this one on the left hand side of this page and this one on the right hand side of the page, because I'm going to repeat this pocket on that half and this will go on this half. Okay, so I'm just going to cut out the rectangle. And then I'm just going to fussy cut around part of the design, just a rough fussy cut. Because what I want to do is I want to put her behind the pocket so that she's just poking out the top. And then I can do some embellishments here by adding flowers or leaves, just to add that little bit of extra je ne sais quoi. So I'm going to go off and complete this, and then I'll come back and show you what the two look like. Just want to quickly show you what I've done. So I unravelled all the paper and the envelope or pocket, and I've stitched round it, and I've done wonky stitching so that when it's stuck in place it does that. We've got these threads hanging out the side, and then I've put some glue on the bottom piece of the little girl here, and she is going to sit on the back of the pocket, lined up with this edge here because there's the straight edge there. And then I'm going to glue that in place there, so she looks like she's standing on guard. And so I'm going to place glue around the three sides. Shall I do? Yeah, I'm going to do little girl and pocket. Along those three edges there. And that will stick. In place there. And then something can be put behind the actual pocket that I've just made. Excuse me, love, can you sit down? Thank you. And then I'm probably going to put some lace on the bottom here, some fringed lace, just to weight that down a little bit. But I could put a paper clip in place as well to hold it down. But as I say, I could add a cluster on here, I could add some flowers on there just to decorate that up a little bit. And then that will do that, and that'll be like that. And then there's going to be another one on this side, but with, let's get you out the way, that little girl on this side. So I'm going to go off and go and do that now. This is what they now look like complete. So they both will lift up and these will pull down, but also, forget a scrap bit of paper, these now act as pockets so that you can slip things behind there too. So maybe put a nice little tag in there, which will then extend up here, and it'll all just tie it all together. Now I am thinking of adding some lace. As I say, I'm not sure whether I'm going to add a cluster, some flowers, but I don't want too much bulk on it, because obviously when you open this up, if you want to write on it and you've got a load of bulk there, you're not going to be able to write on it very easily. So I've got this lace here, and I did think about putting that along the bottom and then having this all dangling out the bottom of the journal, but I'm not too sure about that. And if I put it higher up, that works quite well. Ooh, sorry, out of shot. That works quite well as well. But again, you've got the problem that when you flip that back, the bulk of that is going to get in the way of writing on it. So then I thought about this one and having that up the top. Now, the problem with this one is it's got these pearl things on, and they're held on by this little funny little pin on the back. Now you need your, oh, reach for it, your really old scissors, because you can take these off and it will nicky nacky noodle your scissors up. So I'm going to use this part of the blade up here, and if you grab hold of that pearl and cut, oh, come on, you worked earlier. there we go. It cuts it off and it releases this pin on the back. And it can be a little bit fiddly to get out sometimes, as this one is going to be, because it's attached around the lace. Oh, that dropped somewhere. Don't know where it went. But it now means that that lace hasn't got the bulk of these pearl things on. And then I could sit that across there. So that's a possibility. That's a possibility. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it like this, and then as I start to put the journal together, I'll make the decision thereon what I actually want to do on the pages, because it depends what's on its opposite page. So if I put this back in place, and I can't remember whether it was in front of that or behind that. Let's do it that way. Remember, this has got to be stitched in place yet. So it'll be like that, and then that will open to that, and so that's that page. So it'll depend what goes on here, and the same with the other side as well. It will depend what goes on here as to how I decorate this up further. Okay, so that's pocket number 1 done. This is a really, really quick pocket to do. I'm just using this scrap piece of the green paper because it's not printed properly here. So I'm going to cut this to 3, let's do 3.5 inches. There. So I like to line it up with the middle part as well, so then I know it's straight. And then we're just going to trim off that little white edge there and there. I might need to cut it down further, but that's okay. I can do that in a minute. Okay, let's fold that in half. Yeah, I will need to cut it down because I want it to be square. So I'm folding it in half, and the measurement of this is 3.5 inches wide, so I want it 3.5 inches long. So these 2 bits here I'm going to chop off, and we're going to line that folded edge up on the 3.5 inches and chop away that bit of excess. This then, remember which way to do it. In fact, hang on a minute. So this is from my ideas journal. As I say, I have got a video on this, and this is it, how it goes. So this top bit here, move that out the way, folds over like that, and this is why it needs to be square. So that's going to fold over there. Okay, and then open it back out. So I'll show you in the sample. So that flips up, that flips down, and that flips open. So this bottom corner needs to go up to that centre point. And then that will flip over like that, and then that will flip over the top. My folding is a bit pants. Let me just square that up a little bit, so that it will open like that, and like that. Oh, let me do that in frame. That might help, mightn't it? You might be able to see what's what. So that will flip open like that, and like that. And then I would ink up all of the edges. And then that will be glued on the back around those 2 sides, as I've got here in my sample, so that you can then tuck something in that corner pocket. And as you can see on the front here, I've got a little mini cluster, so I could do the same on this one as well. So I'm going to ink up all the edges. I did some faux stitching on it just there. I might do that all the way around those 3 sides, and then put a little cluster in the middle, but I'm going to keep that to one side because again I'll decorate it up once I've got it in the journal itself. So I could also do it with any of these leftover pieces, so long as I've got the square, fold it, cut it that way, and then fold it in half and make sure that it is a square that I've got on the front. So I might do that with some of these leftover pieces as well, and have a couple of these dotted about in the journal. So they could be, where's my journal gone? So it could be, let me work which way around I want to go. Yeah, so it could be up in that top corner, and then it will flip that way, and that way. So then I've got all of that to write on the back. The third pocket I want to show you is a double pocket, and it's using these two lovely ladies from the kit. So that will sit there, that will sit there, and then I've got a sticker so that that will sit on the top. Now you need to be careful about what sticker you use, because this leaf here is encroaching the space where I want to use it as a pocket. So I will just chop that little leaf off artistically, she says. And then that will stick on there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue around 3 sides here and around 3 sides there. So let's do that bit. So she's going to go on there. She's going to go on there. So the two are overlapping at this corner point here. Then do the dreaded peeling off. Look at me, look, I've got glue everywhere. So flick, keep flicking that back. There we go, it's come off. And again, I'm just going to fold that back on itself so I can get the positioning right. Oh, I've gone a little bit beyond there, so I'm going to have to trim that bit. So otherwise that sticky bit is going to get in the way. There we go. And then burnish it down. And then I've got loads of little tags already printed off and cut out, ready to use. Let's try with the fancy ones. So I would stick these down onto a little piece of vellum, I think, and then that will slot in there. And that one would slot in there. And that's how that would look. And then obviously I'd end up adding, you know, some seam binding or ribbon or some lace or something on there. But yeah, I would definitely glue these onto the back of a piece of vellum because they're too delicate and they would just catch. But that's another simple pocket. Last one I'm going to show you today is this one here, which is from the lace digital kit. So I printed that out onto a piece of vellum, and I've got a piece of tea dyed paper underneath. So I'm just going to pull those two out. And I just want to add a little seam allowance, probably 1/4 of an inch. So I'm just going to score all the way down that piece of vellum and I'm scoring it because it's too long a piece for me to just fold by eye, and because it's so narrow I would end up getting it all wonky, and I probably still might do that. Then fold it over on this edge. Those two folds are where I'm going to add the glue. In fact, I think I might just taper off those corners so that they're not visible. And then put the glue on. I can't remember whether this is from lace 1 or lace 2, but it's the main picture on Etsy. And then open up the page, line it up with that centre fold. So now you can't see where that glue is, because sometimes the glue shows through with vellum. And the other thing is, again, thinking of this lace, so I might put that lace on there. Let me fold the page in half, because it might be too deep. I think that's too deep, and then obviously the swingy bits hang down. Yeah, I might have to have a look through my lace, but I'm thinking of putting a lace edge on the edge of that pocket, so then I've got these pockets here and here. So that's 4 different types of pockets that I've showed you today. I'm going to be off for the rest of this weekend because I'm packing up pop-up products. Granddaughter's coming over and we're going to be packing up the pop-up shop products. I had it behind there, didn't I? And so we really need to concentrate on that, and I think that you guys have got enough to be working on. If you bought the digital kit, you've got enough to be working on creating these pockets and all the other bits and pieces that we've done. So that's what that will then look like with a pocket there, which I can then put the journaling cards in. So all in all, good day's work. I love that one. But there again, I love that one too. And I think by the time I've got a tag in there, a pretty tag, I think that'll look lovely. Okay, I'm off. Thanks very much for joining me again. And I'll do some close-up photographs at the end of the video. Please don't forget to give me the thumbs up and a comment if you feel like it, and if you could share the video with any of your friends or groups, that would be great, because it'd be lovely if there's more of you coming along and having a look at the videos. It helps me out financially, because this is my job. This is how I earn my living. But it would be lovely to see more people joining in with the projects as well. Anyway, I'm off. Thanks very much. See you all later. Bye for now. Bye.